Alright, I figured we'd get started with Finn because he seems like the easier shape. So what I'm basically going to do is go over here to Texture, Import. I'm just going to grab that reference here. We've got Cake Toppers Finn and Reference and import that texture. Go to Texture, select that texture, hit Add. We're just going to add it to Spotlight. And now that we have this in Spotlight, of course, you can move this around. And I'm going to be going kind of fast. Of course, feel free to go to my YouTube channel. I'm not going fast to be mean or because I don't want to explain everything. It's just that I've gone over a lot of the basics already. Go to this Intro to ZBrush Part 1 for a lot of it. Intro to ZBrush Part 2 and Part 3 has some good stuff in there as well. A lot of good stuff on here. So it's not quick and dirty. I'll explain everything I'm doing, but don't expect me to go at a snail's pace because I don't like doing that. So we have a spotlight image in here, and I'm going to use this spotlight image to both model and eventually kind of paint through just to kind of guide where my cuts need to go. In order to start the shape out, I kind of look at him and go, he looks kind of like a smushed hot dog cylinder shape. So I'm just going to start with a cylinder here. Now, of course, with Spotlight, I'm going to hit Z to go out of widget mode, and then Z to bring it back. I'm going to knock this back a little bit. I'm going to grab this opacity, the one with the guy standing in front of the window, and drag that to the left. Just kind of dumb that opacity down quite a bit. Hit Z to go out of widget mode, and now I'm just in Spotlight mode. You're going to see maybe some artifacts on my screen. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to grab Cylinder 3D, drag it out on my document here, go into Edit mode. I'm going to grab Matte Cap Gray, which you can find up here. And this is what I'm going to start with. Now, I'm just going to do quick Dynamesh stuff. If you want to, go to my YouTube channel and check out my ZBrush Pokeball if you want to use like ZModeler to do this kind of thing. If you also go to like the Gemini School, I have a ZModeler in here. A lot of different ways you can skin a cat in 3D. This is just one of them. So I have a model in here. I'm going to hit X to go across X symmetry, which is going to be transform, toggling activate symmetry on and off. And I'm going to, again, like I said, I'm going to be doing Dynamesh. So right off the bat, I'm going to go to Geometry. Well, first, right off the bat, I'm going to make Polymesh 3D up here first, because we're not going to initialize this primitive. And I'm going to go down here to Dynamesh and turn off Project, turn off Blur, and I'm going to start pretty low. I'm going to bump this down to like 64, and then Control Drag to make sure I'm unmasked, and then hit Dynamesh, and now I'm in Dynamesh mode. If I hit Shift Z, that'll toggle Spotlight off, and then hit X to make sure you're in symmetry mode. And now I can just use basic modeling tools. If you don't like this thing flipping and flopping around, which I don't, go to Preferences, Edit, turn off Align Cursor to Surface, and now we're ready to rock and roll. So of course we're going to smooth here, and I like to use, hold down Shift, Smooth Stronger. You won't have Smooth Stronger automatically loaded. I do because I use it all the time, but if you need it, go hit the spacebar, go to Brush, and look for the Smooth folder in here, and then there's Smooth Stronger, double click that. That'll allow you to use Smooth Stronger for your smooth brush. If you want it to show up all the time, hold down Shift, go to Brush, Save As, save that in your ZBrush 4R7, C, Program Files, Pixelogic, ZBrush 4R7, Z Startup, Z Brushes, where is that at? Brush Presets, sorry, save it in here, and then every time you start up ZBrush, you can load it up. And you can actually set it to a hotkey if you'd like, but I don't usually do that for my smooth brushes. Anyway, we have a shape here. Hit Z, bring Spotlight back, Z to go out of widget mode. I'm just going to start placing this guy. So again, I'm in X symmetry here, so I can kind of move this into place like so. I can hit W, go into transpose mode. I'm anchoring it up here. I can just move this down. And for now, I'm actually going to include his pants because it's going to be easier for me to get this whole shape going and then slice it later where his shirt and his pants and his legs are going to be. Okay, let's talk about this right now. So what I'm going to do is hit Z, and I'm actually going to scale this up a bit. So I'm actually just getting his whole body in here. I hit Z to go out of that mode, the widget mode. And I'm going to touch this little ball to turn that menu off, and I'm going to go over here to my, let's do movie. I'm going to grab my movie menu, drag that over here, and we're going to go down here to timeline. We're going to hit show. That's going to pop my movie timeline up here. And with this, what I can do is set up keyframes that will allow me to kind of maintain where these things are in space. So if I kind of move this into place here and touch, that'll save that as keyframe 1. Now, let's go ahead and paint this guy so I can see what his front is. I'm going to turn on RGB. I'm going to grab my standard brush, turn on RGB, and I'm going to paint down the middle and turn off Z-Add. There we go. So we're just painting. And I'm painting across the x-axis, that's why it looks a little bit funny. So I'll pick one side and just kind of paint half of it. I've hit Shift-Z, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And so that's his front. If I loop him around, that's his back here. So I can go over here and make this his back. And just for the sake of simplicity, I'm actually going to click and drag this dot off the timeline and then click again. That'll be my first key, will be the one on the far left. And then I'll move him. I can do like a 3/4 back. And you'll notice I'm not going to bother turning perspective on. You can turn perspective on. The caveat of that is, as you drag farther to the, see how he kind of changes as I drag him from the, he kind of goes back, and then you see more of his right. Where you control that is if you go to draw and click on align to object, and now when it's over here and it's over here, it looks the same even though it's still in perspective. If that's off, it's really going to distort as you get to the corners of your document here. I'm just going to turn that off. I'm not going to be that accurate. I'm basically just looking to get the basic shape and then kind of fine tune from there. So because of that, I'm probably going to do a quick side view. So we'll go ahead and tap another dot for the side view, and then I'll just do a quick front view. Tap a dot for his front view, and now I can use my arrow keys to kind of switch between those, and that's just for getting a basic shape. So I'll go to the side view here because it looks like it needs a little bit of work. I'll grab my move brush, kind of move this in and around, move this down, and it looks like he's got a little butt hanging out here. So what I'm going to do is hit Z to bring my widget back, turn the opacity down, and I guess what we can do is just kind of mask this back here. Hit Shift Z to bring it back, Control click to invert that mask, W, and I held down Control to mask originally, and just kind of pull that out a bit. I'm going to go to the right. This one looks okay. Go to the back. This one looks okay. We can maybe squish him in a little bit. Okay, so his ears, let's go ahead and just mask where his ears are supposed to go, and then we'll go to the side here, and we've got this mask. I'm going to unmask there, and then we'll go to the front. Looks good. I'm going to Control click to invert that mask, use W transpose, Shift pull this up. I'm not going to overshoot it because I can Control drag again to re-Dynamesh, hold down Control Shift, go over here to clip curve, and I'll just clip these right back down. So now if I go back and forth, you can kind of see his ears match up. Got his body here. Let's go ahead and drag some legs out. I'm going to mask these corners here. Control tap to invert. Pull these down like so. We could go ahead and do all of his legs, I suppose. Let's go all the way down. Control drag, and I'm just going to go very quickly and kind of just move these into place here. Move his crotch up a little bit. And I'm not overly concerned about how the polypaint's doing because I can change that later. We'll do arrow key to the left. Legs look good. Now his legs look really wide from here, and I can't really tell what's going on, so I'm going to hit Shift Z to get rid of spotlight here. And temporarily, I'm going to go into Subtool, turn off that little paintbrush there. And now we can use Clip Curve to kind of clip these a little bit skinnier. And again, it's just pulling those points straight back to that gradient line. We can smooth this, make it look a little bit better here. Here's the butt I pulled out. You can go in here with your clay brush if you want to kind of make that look a little bit more, I mean, it's not natural, it's Adventure Time, but a little bit more closer to the source material here. And I'm going to go ahead and straighten this out a bit. So we got his basic body, hit Shift Z to bring that back, and then there's arrow keys. And we'll give him his legs a little bit more of a natural tilt, and we'll just hold down Shift and smooth to kind of thin that out a bit. There we go. Okay, also on here you'll notice his ears need to be kind of smoothed a bit. And we can kind of zoom in. You can use Trim Dynamic to kind of, and for you, if you want Trim Dynamic, just BT to narrow it down to the T brushes, and then D. BTD is Trim Dynamic, and you can of course set a hotkey for that. I would. Okay. And hotkey setting is just go into the brush menu, hold down Control Alt Tap. It'll say press any key combination, and boom, you can set a hotkey. So if you want to, if you've thinned his legs out too much, just grab the inflate brush and just kind of inflate him up just a tad. Shift Z, arrow keys, and I think we're looking good. We got his body basically blocked out. His ears are looking good. His feet aren't quite there yet, but that's okay. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to pull up. I'm going to hit Shift Z, and I'm going to pull up the reference off to the left here, and I'll just use that to kind of do the rest of his body.